Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex, and I couldn't wait for maybe ever hitting 10,000 subscribers before I made this video. Also, Ria, if you're watching, I managed to condense this video to be less than an hour. Before I start the video, I want to make it clear that my rant is not meant to be mean. My rant is just discussing behaviors that I have noticed in my generation that have become more apparent in recent years. The title, My Generation is Screwed, becomes more apparent, I've noticed, as time goes on, and I don't exactly know how to feel about that. As I've grown older, I've noticed one thing about my generation, that being Generation Z, is that they haven't quite matured. By this, I've noticed many members of my generation are unable to properly hold a debate without going into immediate name-calling or insults. Since so many people my age have spent time in echo chambers, be it online or in person, with others telling them their opinion is valid and never challenging it, they are unable to defend these beliefs when asked a simple question about why they feel the way they do, when their belief, their very ideals that have been told for so long are valid and have never been critiqued are suddenly questioned. Some members of my generation take it as a personal attack. Just because someone does not always agree with your beliefs, that doesn't automatically mean that they hate your entire existence and want you to vanish from the face of the planet. I have also noticed a level of hypocrisy amongst my generation. To add to the earlier point about debating, many members of my generation claim to be against those who are not accepting, yet demonize people who do not share the exact same beliefs as they do, or get mad at people who act in a way that they deem unsuitable, and that person is deemed as the enemy. When I was a child, I was taught at my Catholic school to treat others as you wish to be treated, and I have done my best to uphold this mantra. But now many will only give respect to those who are in the same belief system as theirs, which is not a healthy way to go about it. Just because somebody tends to be a bit more conservative, that doesn't automatically make them a hateful human being. And just because someone is liberal, that doesn't automatically mean that they are loving and accepting. In fact, some people I've seen who claim to be loving and accepting are some of the most hateful and disgusting people I've ever had the displeasure of meeting. Generation Z is also partaken in what I have dubbed the crying wolf phenomenon, referencing the story of the boy who cried wolf. I have seen many people of my generation claim that someone is being an ism or a phobic over either a misunderstanding or the person acting entitled and being asked to stop their poor behavior by the people they claim are being hateful. Accountability and consequences for actions seem to be foreign concepts, and some members of Generation Z will blame someone else for their behavior and refuse to do any self-reflection of their actions. By throwing around such serious words and accusations, these words lose their meaning, making it hard for those who have actually experienced these subjects to come forward and tell their stories in fear of not being believed. No, Sally, people don't care that you're X, Y, and Z. You have the personality of a diaper rash, and that's why people don't want to be near you. By refusing to sit down and have a proper conversation with opposing beliefs and instead alienating those who do not agree with them, many members of Generation Z are harming any causes they are hoping to bring attention to. By creating the stereotype that the people who support those causes in question are just crazy loonies who want control instead of positive change. Back in my early teens, I was very much an SJW, for a lack of a better word, and I was one of those crazy teenagers who didn't want to listen to anyone who didn't agree with me, and I look back at that time of my life and wince in embarrassment. Now in my early 20s, I don't jump on a bandwagon like I used to. Instead, I look at both sides of an argument before forming a final opinion and question any information that sounds biased or lacks any proper evidence. Furthermore, social media has been another factor in the behavior of Generation Z, with TikTok being the most common denominator. I know many people my age struggle to feel accepted by those around them, so they take to the internet to find a community community of common-minded people. Sometimes these communities are harmless and it's just fans bonding over a movie or a video game they enjoy, but then there are those who take their escapism too far. Generation Z has been the largest age group on TikTok, faking mental disorders, making them appear trendy. Teenagers and young adults on the platform are pretending to have Tourette's syndrome, dissociative identity disorder, and epilepsy. When they are confronted by concerned commenters asking what doctor diagnosed them, the people who run these accounts will become very defensive, claiming that their self-diagnosis is valid and how they somehow know more about the condition in question from a few quick Google searches than doctors who have spent 3 decades and hundreds of thousands of dollars specializing in these subjects. By faking these disorders, Generation Z is causing awful stigma around these conditions, making it harder for those who actually have them to seek proper medical attention. I understand my generation wanting to make the world a better place, as countless generations before us have attempted. However, screaming at others over differing opinions, refusing to take accountability, blaming others, faking serious mental disorders, hypocrisy, and having the personality of a rotten cabbage is not the way to go about getting change in the world. A wise man once said that people should be judged for the content of their character, and right now the character of many members of my generation is headed down a very icky slope. I am 20 years old, and I am very worried for the future if my generation continues to act the way it does. I don't want to tell my children and grandchildren that I was ashamed of my generation due to all the reasons that I mentioned above, and I hope one day that common sense and maturity will help lead my generation down a new path, one that can better the world without being hypocrites. Because I am tired of all this BS and some members of my generation continuing to make all of us look like hypocritical and idiotic donuts. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment, give the video a like, and please subscribe to Sweet Histortea, a channel full of random facts, lots of sparkles, and a bit of worry for the future. If you would like to support my channel, there is a link down below in the description for my Patreon. It is not expected, but it is always appreciated. Thank you so much again for watching, and until next time, bye-bye!
There's a part of myself I'm missing.